Have you been trying to figure out what is the best diet for you amidst all the confusing headlines and different best-selling books? I'm Shirley Archer, and I'm going to share with you one thing that really clarified a lot of the confusion around healthy eating in my 30 years as a health educator and mindful living instructor. And this one thing is what I learned about the field of nutrigenomics. And what that means is it's the study of nutrition, genes, and health, or longevity or disease reduction. And what the most recent research is showing us is that humans who have evolved, the Homo sapiens, for about 300,000 years, have survived for the most part in relation to the specific geographic area in which they're from, eating local foods and adapting to what's available. If you think about it, it's really only in the last maybe 100 years that we can eat any food we want from anywhere across the planet, independent of the season and far from our local community. And we live perhaps not in the same area that our ancestors. I mean, for example, in the United States, most residents are of European or Asian or Latin or African heritage, and they've come to America, and their eating patterns have evolved for centuries prior to being in America in relationship to those environments that have nothing to do with the natural environment in which they're living today. So what's interesting about this is that, take, for example, like Eskimos that are living in the ice and snow, and they live primarily on seals and fish, and they are able to get all the nutrients that normally we would get from vegetables and fruits from the fish that they eat and the algae and plant life that those fish consume. And in the same way, people that come from different climates have different metabolisms. If your ancestors were from Russia, Siberia, and they were used to long stretches of extreme cold, they have metabolisms that can survive that environment, which is very different from if your ancestors are from a tropical island, which is very warm and food abundant. So our metabolisms, what is ideal for us to eat, is very much tied to where we are from geographically on the planet from an ancestral point of view. But today, we don't live in relationship to that. So that gives you some understanding as to why when one person eats a particular diet versus another, they may have a completely different reaction in terms of weight loss or energy level and health. What we can take away from this understanding is that people are extremely adaptive as a species, and we're designed to thrive, particularly in relationship to our local environment. And what studies show us today is that the most healthful eating pattern is what's described as the Mediterranean diet. They also like the Okinawa diet or the Nordic diet. And all of these share in common primarily plant-based, minimally processed foods, low fat, not a lot of dairy, and they also integrate a little bit of alcohol, wine, and social aspects of eating, and a relaxed lifestyle filled with community and love and joy, as well as a sense of life purpose. So when we look at an eating pattern that seems to contribute to optimal health, it's not independent of the lifestyle factors that surround how food is consumed. So what does that mean for you? Well, one of the things you can start to think about is what foods make you feel good naturally. Look to what your ancestry is. What type of climate could they come from? What type of foods were they more likely to eat? Was it more of a meat-based diet? Was it more fresh fruits and vegetables? Was it more of a seafood diet? Was it heavily into wheats, or was it more rice-based? You know, learning all of these things can give you tremendous insight. And also paying attention to how you feel after you eat. And this is a good place to start. There's a lot more to know, but I encourage you to take this understanding and start to experience how you feel when you eat, and we'll learn more about that in mindful eating. So stay tuned for future videos, and feel free to share in comments any questions that you might have. Thank you so much for sharing this time with me, and I invite you to join me next time. Please subscribe. Take care. Thank you.